On Sunday, officers forced entry to this home, arresting a man. His wife showed journalists at the scene paperwork relating to his removal, a warrant signed by an immigration officer, a document that does not authorize agents to enter a private residence.
Okay, so that was illegal. That was illegal. Who's going to stop them? Like, that was illegal. We talked about the distinction between an ICE administrative warrant that is signed by an ICE agent or an ICE manager or whatever, an ICE administrator, versus an actual judicial warrant. You cannot break the door of an American or anyone really on U.S. soil like that with an ICE administrative warrant. It's ridiculous, dude. They're dressed like they're in Desert Storm while in a mundane suburbia, a sort of end result of decades of tactical LAR being done by the absolute lowest common denominator that washed out of normal police hiring. ICE agents stormed a Minneapolis home full of kids, pointing rifles and ignoring pleas to lower them. The warrant shown appeared incomplete. The man arrested had just checked in for a routine appointment.
Where's the warrant? Where's the warrant?
I'm sorry, but every single person that is engaging in this, especially at the administrative level, has to go to prison. Actually, I'm not sorry for saying that. They have to go to prison. They have to. If they don't, and there's no accountability whatsoever by the law, it's over. It's over. There is no law. There is no society. The social fabric is completely ripped apart. Every single person that is participating in this, down to the guy who's pulling the trigger, all the way to the person who's signing off on the administrative warrants at ICE, down to Kirsty Noem, have to face legal repercussions for this. I'm being dead serious when I say this. They have to face legal repercussions. They have to face criminal repercussions for this. This is the type of shit that would happen every now and then, and it would cause panic and disarray and then be handled by the courts. And year over year, we expanded on the permission structure. Year over year, we said, well, cops are just doing their jobs, all this shit. And it all played a role in what we are experiencing currently. This is Nazi shit. A violation of the Fourth Amendment, yes. But if there is no group that will hold the administration to account for severely violating the Fourth Amendment, then what good is the Fourth Amendment? What good is the Constitution? It's just a piece of paper to wipe your ass with.
Where is it? Can you put the guns down, though? Can you put the guns down? There's kids in this house. There is kids in this house. Show the warrant first. Show the warrant. Show the warrant.
Bro, all it takes for one of these Gestapo pieces of shit, as we've seen this past week, is to have a bad day, or to feel like their authorities threatened, or to feel like their ego is harmed, for them to pull the trigger too. Because like a lot of people are such badge eaters that they see guys that wear this gear, that see guys that LARP as though they're cops, and they assume, oh, they must be there for good reason. No, they're not. You have to literally pull yourself out of the situation and realize that these are people, some of them have been trained for 47 days total, that are Proud Boys, that are fascists, that are white supremacists, that got a $50,000 signing bonus, very little training, and are not actually doing something that's appropriate at all. They're doing something that is utterly illegal. Okay? They are terrorizing the masses. For what purpose? Do you feel safe when you see images like this? Because I certainly don't. This does not actually give me safety and security at all. This is giving chaos and panic, lawlessness and disorder, not law and order, not safety and security, but instead mass chaos.
There's kids in this house. That's it. Where's the warrant? Where's the warrant? Where's the warrant?
How is raiding a home with a warrant illegal? So there's two different kinds of warrants. There's an administrative warrant that is a ICE warrant. Okay, that means nothing. It has no legal basis for entering someone's home, but they use that as a lie oftentimes to say like, oh, well, we have a warrant here, right? And then there's a judicial warrant signed by a judge. If you don't have a judicial warrant signed by a judge under the Constitution, you have no reason to allow ICE agents or any cops to come into your house. Who signs the administrative warrant? An ICE agent, like an administrator at ICE. So it's a real, like, make work bullshit piece of paper that you use. I've described it before, obviously, when we were talking about the DoorDash woman who ordered DoorDash and then had the dasher run into her house, and then ICE agents were like surrounding her home, and they were lying and saying they had a warrant. I don't know why this is not showing, but here, this is the difference between a judicial warrant and an immigration warrant, okay? A judicial warrant will say United States District Court. An immigration warrant, an administrative warrant, okay, will say Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, warrant of removal and deportation. A judicial warrant also has to be signed by an actual judge. Aren't there different levels of judicial warrants even, like an arrest warrant versus a search warrant? Yes. I don't know if this is a judicial warrant at all. And no, the key doesn't work. This is the only thing. Oh, wait, hold on. This may be a little bit clearer. Let's take a look. What does it say up here? Oh, it says Homeland Security. Yeah, it's an administrative warrant, right? That's Homeland Security, right? Yeah, if up top, it says Homeland Security in any part of the piece of paper, then it is actually an administrative warrant and not a judicial warrant. So it's not a real warrant at all. Yeah, this is it. Yeah. U.S. Department of Homeland Security. This is the sample. This is a U.S. Department of Homeland Security warrant. It's not a real warrant. This is bullshit. This is exactly what they're showing here. Yep. Look, it says a U.S. Department of Homeland Security warrant for arrest of alien. Any immigration officer authorized pursuant to sections 236 and 287 of the Immigration and Nationality Act of Part 287 of Title 8 Code of Federal Regulations to serve warrants for the arrest of immigration violations. This is not signed by an actual judge. Know your rights. This piece of paper does not give ICE the authority to enter your home. This piece of paper does not give ICE the authority to enter your car. It's nothing. It is utterly irrelevant. And the fact that they have like little holes on the top means that they just have like a bunch of these papers that they sign off in their car and they just like rip it off to be like, see? It's irrelevant. This is bullshit. You need something that says at the top, the United States District Court. You need to make sure that the address is the correct address. Okay? You need to make sure that when you look at a judicial warrant before they enter your home, you need to make sure that the address is the correct address. You need to make sure that the date is the current date to make sure that the warrant is not expired. You need to see if only the person and property in areas specified may be searched. Sometimes it could be the whole house. You need to actually see if it's signed by a judge, and you need to see what the actual, who the actual judge is. If the answer to all of these is yes, then it is likely a valid judicial warrant. Okay, how do you fight this warrant? You just tell them, "F off. You don't have the right to get into my house." That's it. Except these dipshits didn't even do that. They busted through the door, which was illegal. They don't have the right to do this. They can't do this. This is unconstitutional. Now, before people go, "Oh, laws," if we're getting to a point where a permission slip from the fatter guy in the car is enough for you to do this, then there might not be any rules at all at that point. Genuinely, at that point, when we're already inside, will it stop them? They have guns pointed at them and there's like 20 of them. What should anyone do in that situation? I mean, in this situation, you can't do anything. That's my point. You have to just hope that their law actually kicks in at some point. Ask yourself, if ICE is going door to door, what's next? Armed federal agents took a man away in handcuffs. A woman came out of the house and said the man was her husband. It also appears ICE used an administrative warrant, not a judicial warrant. That matters. An administrative warrant is signed by ICE, not a judge. Without a signed judicial warrant, agents do not have the right to enter your home. It's true. Anyone who thinks this is appropriate and good and just, and that person in there could be the biggest criminal of all time, and it doesn't matter. You have to abide by the laws that were created. It doesn't matter. The reason why you have to abide by that standard is the same reason as to why we defend due process. Because if we decide this is appropriate, no matter how severe the crime is, and there's no indication that this person was a severe criminal anyway, but it doesn't matter, even if they were, even if that was Adolf Hitler in that goddamn house, you have to abide by the rules that were set, because the next time they do this is not going to be Adolf Hitler. It's going to be you. It's going to be your parents. It's going to be your loved ones. And there will be no one that will defend you. Do you understand? That's the reason why we defend due process. That's the reason why we defend certain aspects of the Constitution around these parts, including the Fourth Amendment. No unlawful search and seizure. There's a reason for it. Because an administration that seeks to violate the Constitution in this egregious manner, that will not be checked by the courts, that will not be held accountable by the criminal justice system at any point, will inevitably do this to you as well. That's it. And without those fundamental aspects that have been around since the Magna Carta, there is nothing that remains that will protect you. At that point, it is truly might is right. And unless you have so much money that you can hire your own private military contractors to defend your home at any given point, you're fucked. And even if you do have that kind of money, do you want to live in a society like that at all, where it's just complete chaos? It's an anarcho-capitalist dystopia. Do you really want to live in that society? I know that people like Elon Musk, live in that reality anyway. They know that they're unaccountable. They know that no one will ever hold them accountable. They know that they can get away with doing whatever the they want to get away with. But if you're a random guy working at Jiffy Lube, what makes you think that anarcho-capitalist dystopia is actually going to be beneficial when this current liberalized system that is failing right now is not helping you? You're still a wage slave. So what makes you think you will be a god in the next iteration? What makes you think that you'll be anything but a slave in even worse conditions? People do not have the capacity to understand this, where they go, oh, just comply or die, comply or die. It's ridiculous.
Get the paper. Please get the paper. He's not coming out. He's not coming out until I see it. He's not coming out. My daughter's here. That's a dog.
Yes, don't answer the door is the best legal advice, except in this circumstance, there is no door to be answered because they broke the door, which was illegal, by the way.
You should have the paper before you hit the door. That don't matter nothing. You come with a warrant. You do have to show a warrant. You guys see this all on live. He said he doesn't have to show a warrant. There's nobody in here but my babies. Sugar, stay in your room and shut the door.
Like, that's illegal. They can't do that. It's just ridiculous.
I'm not even touching nobody. Get your hands off of me. I can record. I can record. I am back. Get your hands off of me. I'm not in your way and I'm not stopping nothing. You're also not checking to see who's in this house. Get your hands off of me. Get your hands off of me. I don't give a about your taser. Get your hands off of me. Oh, you're real big and bad.
Oh my God, look at how fat he is. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. The absolute monstrosity over here. Jesus Christ, they are so rotund.
I don't give a about your taser. Get your hands off of me. Oh, you're real big and bad. Where is the warrant? So you can't answer, but you can flash a light? Where's the warrant? Where? Where is the warrant? Back up. Back up, because he's asking me to do something, so now you back up. Can you tell him to back up with this taser? She's in her room, sis.
Why you bending up hand like a boxer? I'll put this over. Look right on it.
Big and bad. That's what they are. 49th and Russell. 49th and Russell.
This is the worst warrant execution I've ever seen because there is no warrant to be executed. It's an administrative warrant, so they're illegally entering someone else's domicile. They're not supposed to be inside. They broke the door illegally, and then they entered the home illegally with guns blazing, and they're terrorizing the person that lives there and their children that live there because they're terrorists. They are Nazi terrorists. This is Nazi shit. I don't know how else to explain it to you. And anyone that looks at this and goes, this must be justified, is a servile little worm, a cattle, okay? Yeah, sure. Explain to me how this is in any way, shape, or form legal or constitutional without saying, well, those people scare me, so I'm glad they're being terrified and terrorized. That's it. All of this stems from, as Matt Christman calls, the dual sadisms of American politics. Oh, well, my enemies have harmed me. I have decided that my enemies have wronged me. They've harmed me. It's liberal women with blue hair. It's black people that have, it's black teenagers that bullied me in high school. And all of these are the real villains in society. And it's the liberal elite that prop them up and never give me what I am supposed to get from society. So at the very least, I can vote for a guy who's not going to improve my material circumstances in any way, shape, or form, but will actually destroy my enemies, will harm them, will terrorize them, will hurt them. That's it. That's it. That's all this is, because you have nothing going on in your life. So you just have to imagine enemies that are at your doorstep and an administration that will punish them, because it's not like they're going to give you free health care. They're not going to make sure that you can actually own a home at any point in your life. They're not going to make your work conditions better. So you just have to sit there like the servile little cuck that you are and imagine that at least there's someone else in the crosshairs, so that makes my life better in comparison. That's it. You're cattle. You are dumb cattle. You have no self-preservation skills. And if the police were really there to protect the community that pays them, they would protect them from illegal actions like that. Exactly. Exactly. The fuck are we doing? Look. Look. Do you see that?
Get your hands off of me. Y'all the ones who need to keep your distance. Y'all so big and bad, but let's see what type of citizens you are on the street without this bullshit.